Welcome to People Tech, the podcast of WorkforceAI.news. I'm Mark Pfeffer. Today I'm talking with Neha Monga, Vice President of Products at Lattice. Like everyone else, they're facing a number of questions about how their platform can leverage AI. We're going to talk about the thought processes and decision-making that go around that, what users think, and more on this edition of People Tech. Hi, Neha. Welcome. Tell me, how do you see AI fitting into Lattice's product? The product has been around for a time, but now everybody's looking for ways to use AI. How are you doing it?
Yeah, what a great question. So Lattice, we really have been at the forefront of technology ever since for HR tech, right? And even before all of the generative AI stuff took the industry by storm, we did have a bunch of AI features in our products. We had a sentiment analysis and a bunch of other things. But since the arrival of Gen AI and new tools and this growing appetite of our customers to use AI, we are bringing it on. We are integrating this in all the different aspects. And pretty much all of our products will have AI capabilities by end of this year, if not sooner. We started with our engagement products where we had all the comments and all the survey insight be summarized using the power of AI. We use OpenAI under our backend, and we use the APIs to do a bunch of this work. And then we looked at performance, which is our flagship product, and knowing that customers want this performance insight to be summarized for easy consumption, that's the next one we went to. And now we're looking at integrating it in our goals product, grow product, and so on, and also like Magic Tools. So our customers have received our AI products really well. I remember when we launched Engagement Insights, 40% of the customers went and turned it on within a month, which is really hard, which is not a kind of a reception we see for all the products because it takes time for change management, folks to even learn about the product, but there was such eager demand for this. And immediately people started using it. They're giving us really good feedback. Most of it is positive. We're still learning about like things they want to have us do. So a lot of things happening in Lattice with AI.
How do you decide where you're going to use AI and how you're going to use it? I mean, you said that you're going to be incorporating it throughout your platform, but you need to decide, well, where is the technology going to give the most value? So how do you make that decision?
That's such a great question because, I've definitely come across places where like, hey, we just want to use Gen AI no matter what. And that's not the approach we're taking at all. In Lattice, when it comes to thinking about the products, we always work backwards from our customers. Like, what are the big problems customers are having? And some of the problems have been long-standing, right? For example, like, waiting in data after running the engagement survey, those problems have been there for a while, but we didn't have a good solution for that. But now for us, how we're approaching AI is like really looking at what are tough customer problems that we are now able to solve and where it creates the most value, time savings, productivity gains, and just like better quality of output, like which is objective bias free that AI can bring, which sometimes humans can't, and prioritizing those things high in our roadmap. So that has been our approach. Like, what are the big problems you can solve for customers in a better way than is even possible than applying there versus like, hey, let's just stick Gen AI onto this feature. That's not how we want to approach this at all. Like it has to be a very considered way of using AI.
If you look at the industry, the HR technology industry, not just Lattice, obviously in the last, say, 18 months, everybody and their brother is launching an AI product of one sort or another. And sometimes the features they're describing are things we've actually heard about before, but they're repositioning them as an AI-based product. So let me ask this way. Are these simply relabeling, or are there truly new approaches that are going on? And what do you think the dynamic of the industry is? Is the industry really building new stuff?
First of all, I do think industry is building new stuff, but at the same time, I think there's some players who are also rebranding. I think you'll always have a spectrum of true innovators versus people who are still learning how to best apply that. And in their defense, they might be, just using a different technology to make the existing features better or trying a few things out. And I think it's all fair. Many of us are learning about AI technology, so I don't want to be overly critical of those. We should always try new things. But yeah, knowing that not everything is going to land. I am most excited about thoughtful applications of AI, where you're changing the game, creating solutions like never before that actually enhance whatever goal they might be. For example, managers have so much on their shoulders. How do we relieve the burden on there? How do we make them more effective at their jobs by providing them the insights, shortcuts that they can do things much better, right? So those have always been our goals. And yeah, there are a few others who might not be as successful at achieving them, but it's worth trying. And yeah, you're right. I've definitely seen some examples well, I don't want AI to tell me the weather. I can look up in the sky and tell yeah, it's sunny. So I am looking for those differentiated things that we can do for our customers, which are not the surface level obvious things, but deeper problem solving for them. I'll give an example. One of the things that is now maybe possible more than our HR leaders, a lot of our HR business partners will tell you they spend a lot of time answering tactical questions for the employees, right? Oh, when is the next performance cycle? What does it take for me to get to the next level? And a lot of these things can be found in things, right? Like employee handbook, or they can be found in leveling guidelines or job architecture documents that they might be shared. But how do we use generative AI to provide this situational answers to the employees and relieving this burden on the HR admins? That's one of the things we're looking at. And I think that does provide a next level value for our customers. Or like I mentioned to you, performance insights, as a manager who had a lot of reports, I would go around synthesizing, oh, has my report, what is the feedback from different people? How have they been in the goals? What was the feedback last time? Where do they want to be in their career? Synthesizing all these inputs and creating this performance review packet. But now AI helped me summarize all this so I can focus on providing the subjective view on top of the objective things that AI gives me. So I think we are definitely focused on more of those exciting things that create tremendous differentiated experiences.
Do you think customers are getting their arms around this? In other words, are they still asking, do you have AI? Or are they asking more about the capabilities that AI allows you to offer?
I think the buyers and customers are very smart. They can see past yeah, this says AI, but this is not really AI, right? They're hey, what can AI do for me, right? They're very astute in their questions they're asking us, hey, okay, AI does this, and so what? What is the sell here, right? So if you can tell our customers, for example, when we did the engagement summaries, we were able to tell them hey, customer testimonials that tell us, save me 2 weeks of work, or I was spending $10,000 to this external company to summarize my engagement results for me. Now I can do this in minutes for free. They're looking for those kind of savings because I think the economy that we are in right now, there's definitely pressure on everybody to be more efficient. So I think it's really important to the customers to see the true value it brings in terms of time saved, dollars saved, not having to do more tactical stuff that frees them up to do more strategic stuff. So they're asking smart questions, and the ones that we've seen can see past it, and they're demanding. And I love that, actually.
Let me ask you to step back even a little further and look at the whole industry again. I can't help but ask, I can't resist. Where do you think the balance is right now between hype and reality? Do you think that the technology is living up to everything that's being said about it? Do you think we still have a ways to go? How are you feeling from a product point of view?
That is such a great question. So, it's been a couple of years since ChatGPT came out. And I think when it first came out, there was definitely a lot of hype, right? I feel we're kind of seeing the hype die down a little bit and reality emerge a little bit. And I actually love to be in this space because people are not, just buying things, oh, just because AI. Or people are not just building crazy stuff, which actually cannot be supported with the technology, right? Promising big things, which is actually not a reality. So I think there's a little bit of reality check happening with the hype. And that is a really good place to be in because now we can start having real conversations, real discussions about what AI can actually achieve and how it actually serves a purpose in daily lives of our customers and like employees, managers, senior leaders, and so on. So I feel like that's where I think it's meeting the road a little bit, where people are like, oh yeah, how am I actually incorporating my life? And not just getting wowed like, oh, this product has AI or like this thing has AI. Yeah.
How about pricing? Microsoft raised the price at $30 per user for Office 365 for the AI version. That's almost $400 a year, per head. Do you think it's worth it, for the kind of features that Microsoft's been able to add? Do you think customers are willing to pay that kind of a premium for these features, or are they starting to just expect it to be baked in?
That is such a good question because I think pricing is one area that I think the jury's still out. I think Microsoft did a really cool step. Like, yeah, let's just start charging for it. And sometimes I think you need those kind of steps to see where it actually falls eventually. But I think it's great to take a first step and see what value people are finding. Are they renewing? Are they continuing to purchase AI, right? I think it's a valuable step in that direction. But I do think the jury's still out. I think people are still making up their mind on paying for AI. I think number one, I do think people want to pay for AI because they see the differentiate. Like, while it's saving me tens of thousands of dollars or it's saving me X number of hours, I think they see the value in it. But I think it's been hard to separate out like what is truly valuable, differentiated, and step change in productivity versus like, oh, that's kind of a neat enhancement, kind of quality of life thing. So I think it's just very important to separate, what is the real value versus from like, oh, kind of nice to have, and being able to price that appropriately with the right pricing model. And I don't think anybody in the industry knows that quite yet. And I think we'll have to play with a few pricing models to see what sticks, what lands, and what people are comfortable with. But I fundamentally do believe, I think AI does add differentiated step level change value. And I do think there is intention and desire for people to pay more for what AI can achieve for them. And I think there's some kind of meeting in the middle that needs to happen with the right pricing model, whether that is like, oh yeah, it's like all you can eat in a single SKU, like, $30 for Copilot. Or maybe there's a premium option, like, yeah, basic stuff is free. And then you pay for where there's truly differentiated step level change. And versus like, yeah, all of it is free, like Zoom does it. But because it helps, stickiness of the product in some other way, or maybe the entire value is not there yet, it will eventually come. I think those kind of things can happen. But I do think we should experiment, play, find out. And I think there'll be some like going forward, changing direction, pivoting a little bit. And that is the natural part of this technology.
One more question. When you think about your job, you think about developing new products, you think about, identifying the needs that
Yeah.
people have. Has AI made that easier or more difficult? In other words, is the task that HR technology vendors face today more complicated because the technology is becoming more complicated?
That is such a fun question. So I think there are a few dimensions of that. I think first of all, we do internally use a lot of AI products within Lattice. That makes our job easier. Like I love getting like all the customer feedback I receive summarized for me, and I can see like heat maps and all those different things. So I think in some ways, like, AI does help me be just do my job better, my team's job better. But I think there is definitely like a learning curve. I think tech companies, HR tech companies have to stay on top of what is the latest. Like, what are the different types of technologies? What is edge tuning? What are the different models we can explore, like RAGs and whatnot? So I think there's definitely like a learning cycle that the companies will have in developing the AI and technical muscle behind it so that they can envision better solutions, right? Just by understanding new problems, just by, knowing people want AI and what problems they want to solve. I think you have to also like innovate and think of the solutions and the cost behind using different AI technology. So yeah, there is definitely a job out there to become more sophisticated in this area. So, which is exciting because I think many of us are like super curious, want to learn new things. So I think is great for us. But yeah, like, it cannot happen with the same mindset or same knowledge level. Like something has to change. Like you have to hire the right people. You have to upskill existing folks in the team to know more about this technology and build with it and test a few things and do this feedback loop.
Well, Neha, thank you very much for talking with me today. I hope we can talk again, and thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Fun talking with you as always. Thank you, Mark.
My guest today has been Neha Monga, Vice President of Products at Lattice. And this has been People Tech, the podcast of WorkforceAI.news. We're also a part of the Work Defined Podcast Network. Find them at www.wrkdefined.com. And to keep up with AI technology in HR, subscribe to Workforce AI today. We're the most trusted source of news in the HR tech industry. Find us at www.workforceai.news. I'm Mark Pfeffer.